That means you see the user registration has many related has many relations, has one to many related user roles and address information and sender information and receiver information. So here is the necessary constraint. If you add any constraint, because every entries has need to, here is the setup constraint, or you can put it more constraint in your definition level. So here you see the if the user registration is started, then is automatically has many user role, has address info, has sender information and receiver information. That means is this the logging and user registration is mechanism is handled by the based on the admin user and then based on the roles of the user, and then as the system maintain this one. For getting the detail, you can look for the previous the screencast about how web application is working and now working with based on these models. So here is the mapping. So we define our user registration. Then the presentation, I said this is our definitions, and we say the version control is true. You already know the ID and version is the fixed attribute for the from the Grails in Groovy, and this is the important one. So you see, already define our generator, all the primary key generator. Let's see how is the generator look like. So user registration generator. Here is so the service and utility. So it's a utility generator. See, we already created this generation. When we did the database creation, we ran our script to generate all necessary primary keys, and this is the call of the keys. Just I call the server, I select the queries, just simple select statement, and I generate the key and put it the key into as a primary key for here as a by default ID in Grails. So it's just professional, just way has to be done. So maybe in the generation, the SQL generation script, you have a really complex SQL script. Yes, that's all. Then a SQL developer has to be handle those complex generation process, your primary keys, and just for your job to call the generations, the your sequence name and build your what the ID you need to, and then after that just you inject your class to the ID of the attributes, and that's all final. And then it's automatically generate the sequence, and it's generate this after the one sequence one by one. And that's and here is with definition. So here is our you see that our registration and user role definitions. So you see the resource definitions, and we set some default user role name and user type, and here is the has this belongs to. That means every user role is belongs to a specific user registration user, and that's why. And here is the same thing to call the user registration sequence and generate the primary keys and inject the values into the ID. And when I look for the database, you can see the detail how is it look like and how is the generation is done. And then you have the address information. So that means it's including all the necessary information. The address information means basically the socio-demographical information, means it's even though included his father names, mother names, and national IDs and national and passport number, and then even though passport pictures, you can upload it in here, and you can get the detail who is the users, who is the registrar, and here is the many. That means has many address location. Maybe this user register user has multiple address location. We need to find it where to quickly where is his address, his postal address, or maybe his parental address, a summer house or winter house, or like that one. Maybe a multiple. That's why I put it like as a way if he has the address information and where exactly how multiple address information. That's why that's put it. So here I build a constraint and the same thing here. So you call your generation ID and put it in the generation ID into the your primary key. Here you can see the additional one, even though you can control your column name where the database created. So if you don't define that one, then the Grails group is smart enough to generate such attribute, such a column with underscore, depending how your alphabet. So it's a and normally in the database the Grails group we handle like if you put it the small letter, and then if you have big letter, then it's inside this one is put it underlines, and that's the if you don't define this one. If you define like this way, then it's automatic. Then you the definition is your hand. That means you have more control. You don't know, you know what's the column names in the SQL level. That's the possibilities. If you don't did it, just state it like this way. So you see the here the add first underscore first name and last name and this and so on and so forth. That's the definition. So it's look like different, but we define here some columns informations. If the client said, okay, we need the exact column definition, then you should do this way. Otherwise, I don't like to do this way. Just I need to domain and I need to more control with this one. That's automatic. So address location information, you see the information, the street name, and even though the district names, and then the location pictures and address type, buildings number, which floor he is living, which road number he is living, even though other are to be depending on the country, the postal address definition. So here is the standard postal definition as like for Bangladesh. So they put it like this district and divisions, and then union, ward, and upojela, and then road name and sections, and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. You see the address location is belongs to the address informations, and at least one address has to be received by the information. So then is the most important one, the sender. So sender receive, sender send the message, and then this message has to be encrypted, and you see the information what I need. I need that plain text, and then the selection mode, and then initial vectors, and then the secret key, and then there is the output, how you message encrypted with the your secret key. That's the small content of your message information. So this is the message and secret key and the selection mode, and which algorithm you try to use it. This is the definition. So that means every sender, every message has a link to the belongs to one register user. So that means when you are logged in the systems and you define, oh, here is the sender, or is the receiver, or he is the admin user, or is a normal user. That's the definition has to be handled. And here the receiver information. So receiver has to be take the information from who is the sender message ID and the secret key and the original message, and then he will regenerate the message and see the real content of the message. This is the as far as I say, this is the security secure messaging system. Maybe the government to government, or any special person, or any defense person need really secret message in code. If you hacker try to hack it, yes, that's why I try to make such a APIs. Then we can understand and how can make the secret messaging systems and integrate those APIs to the web developer, and then build a web application for any type of GUI framework to integrate or to call it. And when our model definition is done, that means all the domains is a domain definition. All the content, all the requirement from the client in the domain entity content, and then it's done. Then what you need to go there, the terminal, because I use your then you should generate the Grails generate controllers controllers, or like, and then you define your domain class. That's a package name dot your class domain. So that means, because we are in the REST profile, that means it will generate every domain automatically when you run the script. I already did it, that's why I cannot run anymore. uh, automatically generate the respective controllers when the generation you have to do, or you can put it like star, something like that, then star, and that means it's maintained all the controllers. It's generated all the necessary controllers and the services based on all domains. What here in this case, the 6 domain is at one time is run. or you can do independent way, individual call. So you just put it like every domain class and enter and run the commands, and it will generate properly what you need to do. So I did the command generation. When the command is running, you see that there is service generated. Every control, every domain has, when you script run this script, and it's generate your all the necessary controllers, the service control